Good evening and welcome to iScience Radio.
We're here from Imperial College's best and only science magazine, talking science news, culture and a bit of science silliness.
I'm Brian.
And I'm Ellen.
And we will be your hosts for this evening's show. We've got a busy program lined up for you.
Our news editor, Valentina, is going to run through a few of the major science news stories of the past week.
And we interviewed YouTuber and science communicator Oliver Lugg on what it's like to make popular science videos online.
It's definitely important to be aware of, I think as William Glenn puts it, the seeds of subjectivity in science. So the places where, the bias can creep in.
And we'll end with our famous science quiz, this time revisiting a very old friend.
Bill Nye the Science Guy. Bill Nye the Science Guy.
All this and more to come, but first let's drop into some music.
The first song we've got for you is What Once Was by Hers.
And that was What Once Was by Hers. Now we're going to go into some science news that has caught the attention of our iScience News editor, Valentina. Hey Val, what have you got for us this week?
Hey Brian, thank you for having me. So this week I'm going to be talking about an orangutan in Indonesia, which is the first primate observed in the wild to treat a wound with a plant known to have medicinal properties. So the study was published in Scientific Reports, and it details observations of an orangutan who was observed repeatedly using a plant to heal a facial wound in a forest reserve in Indonesia. It is interesting because animals have been seen or observed using plants to ingest plants mainly to get rid of parasites and worms, but they had never seen use them like a plant to actually like treat wounds, open wounds. So it's like the first observation. The team followed a team of orangutans across the park to study them, and they first noticed that he had an open face an open wound in his face in June 2022. And then the evidence of self-medicating behavior. He first ingested a small amount of it and then coated the wound several times, chewing it and then just rubbing it in his face. And 5 days later, the wound had closed, and basically a month later, it had already healed entirely with no signs of infection. And this plant is used by people all over Southeast Asia to treat several diseases, such as malaria. So,
what kind of plant is it?
So it is called akar kuning, or the yellow root. And it's used, apparently it has anti-inflammatory, antibacterial, and many more properties.
Wow, so this primate made a poultice, like he actually applied it onto the wound.
It's like a little doctor.
Yeah, exactly. A little Dr. Orangutan.
Yeah.
Wow, so and this is the first time it's been seen in a primate or in any non-human animal?
In any non-human animal, exactly. Because other animals also use insects to treat other things, but not plants.
They use insects?
Tell
us about that.
Insects. So I specifically don't have the case, but I know that bees, for example, some birds rub themselves on ants, and the ants help them like combat like fungal infections.
Right.
Which is really interesting as well, yeah. All right, and the other one is a bit more techy. It's about new cutting-edge technology that is helping researchers uncover the secrets of hidden scrolls. This mainly is about Plato. So last week, researchers announced that they had deciphered new information from a scroll that had been discovered in the 18th century, but they hadn't been able to read it entirely because it was partially destroyed or charred because it was in the eruption of Mount Vesuvius in 79 AD. So lots of the information was you couldn't read it. But now that they managed to reveal it, now they know that where Plato was buried because nobody knew where he was buried.
It's like a little treasure hunt.
Exactly.
Wow.
So that's part of the information that the scrolls revealed, among much more information about his life and the last days of Plato's life. And even that he didn't like the music that was being played during his deathbed, which is quite interesting, yeah. So what is interesting about this news was the fact that new technology is being developed in order to help researchers and historians like uncover all of this, not hidden, but messages or languages that we haven't been able to access because they're too destroyed. Yeah. So they're mainly powered by artificial intelligence, as everything nowadays. And as The Guardian mentioned in their article, the project that unveiled the information is part of a new wave of efforts that seek to read, restore, and translate all of the ancient and even lost languages with this technology. So some of the technology used, for example, is a hyperspectral imaging, which helps illuminate the scroll specifically in fragments with broadband infrared light that helps to reveal letters that are invisible to the naked eye. Wow. Because the scrolls are so charred that it's black, the same black that ink is. So it's unreadable for us in the naked eye. But this hyperspectral imaging technique has helped them find new aspects of it. And also, the scrolls were wrapped, but they can't be unwrapped because they're too fragile, because they're too old. But they developed a new tool that allows to virtually unwrap the scroll.
That's cool.
Which is insane.
That is insane.
I know. So it basically does like a CT, so a computer tomography, that scans the scroll. And by training a machine learning algorithm, they can detect subtle changes in the patterns in the papyrus fibers, which is like the tomography part, and that way they can see like what letters or what words were written over it, and the algorithms help detect this. So it's like a whole new wave of technology that's been developed for
That's amazing.
anthropologists and
that's
historians
insane.
to study the ancient world.
Hopefully we'll get so many more texts and scrolls that are developed. I think we only know a fraction, or we only have a fraction of what was written from those periods, the classical period. And I'm curious, is there going to be an excavation party sent to Plato's grave anytime soon? Do we think?
I didn't see that information detailed in the article, but I think they will do.
Yeah.
But it's amazing because it's a bunch of like new scholars that are working hand in hand by software developers just to train the algorithms, because it's like both knowledges just working together, and it's amazing.
Also, nice to hear a positive of artificial intelligence there. Thank you very much, Valentina. So we're going to play another song for everybody. This is Black Tame by Topaz Jones.
Did you expect me to do something special in them jeans? They be stretching the truth. She put a pep in the step of the Pepe Le Pews. I had the rep and sweat and half the choir left from the pew. If you bring her home to mama, bet she'll never approve. Plus you love to ask about the one who you been exclusive with. Cross her, that could be the nail of your crucifix. I hear the tick-tock and now time to lock it down. Your homie saying don't commit, nigga shop around. Birds flock around, we flirt a bit. But soon as I find time for us to kick it, then I'm Charlie Brown. And what's the cause of it? If it's a fatal attraction, what's the laws of it? I really need the attention, give me all of it. I flick it up for the freaks, I bet they all love it. Yeah. I really wanna be my mama raised me right, so I don't call them hoes. I mean, I call them, but it's just on some platonic shit. At least until they chronic lit, gin and tonic mix. You ain't the man unless you got a chick for every occasion. Milkshake from McDonald's, thick, skinny, and basic. And subtracting the X, never in the equation. No better than caveman, had me tripping, trying to step with temptations. But I can have 2 left feet and no rhythm. If she did give a sec to me, it's no kidding. Can tell it in her eyes, need umbrellas for her cries. She been telling little lies the size of Nicole Kidman. And I have 2, do whatever for that whoop whoop whoop. They boo-hooing while I boo-hoo you. Need something new. Yeah, need something new. I really wanna be your lover, but I can never make up my mind. I'm thinking about the other girls. I really wanna be your lover, but I can never make up my mind. I'm thinking about the other girls. I really wanna be your track for paper, she made of plastic. Now an hourglass, her shape looking elastic. Not an hour passed without the shouts and harassment. Got a lot of followers hollering for a pic or at least an app to acknowledge them. Teach a college course on a college and got endorsements and sponsors, and they promise in the bag at the doorstep for the promo. It's like a big old Rihanna forehead is a logo, but so goes the saga. If she can make more than a mama while walking in them clunky Balenciagas, who am I to judge it? These rappers tricking to their yada budget just to get attention when they out in public. This what it come with, how you love it, or how you love anyone in particular when they coming in hundreds. We was raised to be the hunters and providers for our mothers if our fathers didn't love us. Our sisters who get the brunt of it, run through bitches just for the fun of it. Yeah, at one point you had enough of it. Settle down, you know the husband bit. Yeah, this the culture I was accustomed with. We tried adjusting, but we couldn't get the cuffs to fit. And she be quick to fisticuffs when we discussing it. Keep it a stack with your brick by brick, we'll build the trust again.
man's family. She said, you got the boy first and the girl second. They wanted that boy to carry on the family name. And then what was so amazing, that my son had
And that was Black Tame by Topaz Jones. Now we've got a very lovely section for you next. Back in March, Caitlin and I spoke to Oliver Lugg, who is a British YouTuber and science communicator, who has a YouTube channel you can find. It's excellent. And he puts out videos on all sorts of topics, anything that really captures his interest. But common themes are science, mathematics, science fiction, and anything really that he finds interesting. And he's put out a video almost a year ago now, last summer, about the mass extinction debates, which was about what really killed the dinosaurs. And this video got several million views, a long video, and it's just superb. It's really excellent. And so Caitlin and I sat down with Oliver, and we wanted to ask him about the video and what it's like doing science communication online. So thanks for joining us, Oliver. You're very welcome. Could you tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do?
Yeah, thanks for having me here. I've been looking forward to this. Hello, I'm Oliver. In my free time, I run a YouTube channel, which in the past 4 or 5 years, I've slowly been filling up with videos on various topics, and a large proportion of those have been on science or maths adjacent topics. Some of them have become surprisingly popular. So, yeah, I hesitate to call myself a YouTuber sometimes, but I think it's fair to say I am one.
What draws you to video ideas?
So I'm always looking for something kind of unique to do, and a unique opportunity to do something creative, really. And I think almost all the time it's linked to stuff that I am personally interested in. So I took maths at university, so there's definitely a strong presence of maths in my videos. Science is also something I've been interested in for a long time. Literature, history, lots of various bits and pieces. And I enjoy the act of sharing things that I like or even love with people. And the creative process is something that I definitely enjoy as well. And when I create videos, I'm really looking to do. I kind of have 3 goals in mind for every video I make, and that's to make people learn something, it's to make people laugh, and to make them, feel some kind of, just feel an emotion, really. So maybe connect with the subject matter, and I think when I'm looking for potential video ideas, I'm looking for things that inspire something in me, and hopefully, I think that kind of translates to an inspiration in other people as well.
That's really interesting. And with maths content, that is pretty esoteric, doesn't have a lot in the way of kind of visual elements. How do you go about drawing people into the world of maths?
I would push back on the argument that it's difficult to make maths visual, because I think there has definitely been an explosion of maths content on YouTube, kind of in lockstep with an explosion on lots of content on YouTube. And I think some of the best names in the business really do a lot with visuals. But I can definitely, I can understand the perspective that mathematics might be something that, that the general stereotype of that is not something that a lot of people are interested in. And I think that's a shame, really. And I found that, just by being enthusiastic about it and trying to, see things from the perspective of people who may not be as deep into maths as you are, and trying to guide them into the same way of thinking that you have, that can often lead to very positive results and have a positive response from people.
Fantastic. Yeah. Do you have any channels that come to mind? I'm thinking of like your Number Files, your Stand Up Maths, these kind of channels.
Yeah, I mean, in terms of visual maths, my mind goes to 3 Blue 1 Brown as probably the gold standard, and I know that Grant behind that has run several events where people have been asked to submit mathematical videos of their own with an emphasis on the visuals of it, and there have been some excellent things coming out of that.
So you've done a lot of science communication yourself, and a really great example is your video on the mass extinction debates about what really killed the dinosaurs. So could you tell us a little bit about that video and how you went through that topic?
So I've obviously been interested in science communication for a long time, but this is the video that kind of puts a meta lens on that by taking a question which I think we're all familiar with to some degree. What killed the dinosaurs? You know, a simple question, and kind of understanding how that question has evolved across time, how the nuances of science communication have impacted how scientists have understood the question, how we as the public have understood the question, and using that kind of as a springboard to reveal to people that there is a lot more to science communication than they might realize. And much to my surprise, that video has become wildly popular. I think it's on like almost 4 million views now.
Why do you think that is?
I mean, to some extent, it's just because people like dinosaurs.
Yeah.
But I'd like to think that it's because people have engaged with the message of it. They've engaged with the effort that I put into producing it, and also, I guess, the storytelling aspect of it. And because, not to spoil it too much, but there is kind of a story that runs through it of my own personal experience with this question. And I think, people have related to that quite a bit. And I think that's made them view it a lot more positively.
Yeah. How do you think about narrative as you make your videos?
So I've always been, I think even before I did anything for non-fiction, I was always interested in writing fiction. My dream job when I was younger was to be a fiction author. So I think I've always been quite attuned to storytelling in that way. And even now when I'm making, generally quite factual videos, I always try to weave in a narrative, partly because it's just fun for me to make. It's more fun to write, and it feels more satisfying to me when there is a narrative running through it. But I think, from the perspective of perhaps a wider group of YouTube videos, one that does have a well-told story behind it is something that people will, they'll view it in high regard, I feel.
And as a part of that video, you pull back the curtain a little on the sociology of science and how the scientific process, what really killed the dinosaurs in this case, can be a lot more unclear than the sort of narrative that we get when all the dust has settled. So I'm curious, how did making that video change your understanding of that social environment of science?
Yeah, so I think, as I go into in the video, kind of the very basics of the understanding of, okay, maybe there are different models of science communication, was something I've been familiar with for a while, because it was something that I'd been introduced to in past projects. But I don't think I'd really internalized that or seen that in action until I started researching this video in earnest. And I think, so the video, I should clarify, is largely based on the book, The Mass Extinction Debates, How Science Works in a Crisis by William Glenn, which I would definitely recommend people read if they were interested in my video. And I think reading that book really revealed to me kind of, I guess for lack of a better word, the pettiness of it all, kind of the nuances of the science and how a lot of it is tied up with ego and bias, even when people aren't aware of that. And I think, I don't know about you, but for me, that curtain was kind of pulled away a little bit during COVID, because we had people on Twitter, academics on Twitter arguing with each other about, what are the best measures for reducing the spread of the coronavirus.
Yeah.
And I think seeing, such occasionally quite vicious spats in a public context, it definitely surprised me. And I think, with the context of this book, which was written during the 1980s and 1990s, I have realized that perhaps it's kind of always been that way. It's just that, science likes to present itself as, well, maybe not present itself, maybe it's the media presenting it. But whoever's doing the presentation ends up as something a bit more formalized and kind of monolithic than it really is under the hood.
Yeah, do you think the messiness of science is something that people should be aware of? I mean, like you said, we kind of all became a bit more clear on it during the pandemic, but that uncertainty, do you think that can sow the seeds of doubt, or do you think it's important for people to understand?
It's a very difficult line to tread, isn't it? Because you think about it in the wrong way too much, and you start believing crazy conspiracies, right? I think that it's definitely important to be aware of. I think, as William Glenn puts it, the seeds of subjectivity in science. So the places where the bias can creep in, and the ways that it has affected the overarching paradigms in the science that is presented. And I think what I was trying to do with my video is make people aware that okay, this is kind of how it works, but that's not necessarily a bad thing. It's still driving towards a greater truth about the universe overall, even if by being done by humans who are messy, biased creatures, it does occasionally lead to mess and bias. So yeah, I think it's something important to keep in mind.
And you've had a bit of an issue with conspiracy theorists yourself. Do you want to talk about that? Has it been a tricky thing to have, commenters bringing up like COVID vaccine hesitancy and things like that?
Yeah, so I wouldn't say it's been a major issue, but it's definitely something I've noticed. You get all sorts of people commenting on YouTube videos, right? There are so many examples I wish I could just list off here that have been varying degrees of hilarious and terrifying. But I think something, I knew this before, but I don't think I've appreciated it until I really tried to change people's minds on something. But changing people's minds is very hard. And one thing I did during the video was kind of try to avoid explicitly taking a side on some of the more controversial topics in science today. So, I didn't explicitly mention climate change and say, we should be doing something about the climate crisis. And I think the reason that I did that was to kind of sneak past people's defenses and kind of show them, okay, we're talking about this other science thing, but actually, maybe you should take that thinking and apply it to the way that you are thinking about another science thing that's perhaps more relevant to our lives, and kind of try and nudge them a bit more in the direction that I was hoping for. So, but there was one exception to that actually, where I put on, I didn't even say anything. It was just on screen. I had a screenshot from, I think it was the BMI or something, not British Medical Institute. It was just a screenshot from their website saying the MMR vaccine does not cause autism. And I had one commenter come under saying, "Oh, this is an amazing video. What an amazing rug pull underneath science." Except for your one scene where you said that the MMR vaccine doesn't cause autism. And it's like, well, yeah, I think there's definitely an element of conspiratorial thinking in a lot of these things, and I even touched on that in the way that the debate over the mass extinction has developed over the years. But it's extremely difficult to walk the line of, okay, well, I need to understand why you think this way, and perhaps there are some themes in the way that you're thinking that are accurate, but that's not a reason to discredit everything you've ever heard about this one scientific issue, right?
Do you think that there's a kind of narrative around attention spans becoming shorter, and especially in today's youth? But clearly, almost 4 million people have watched a over 2 hour video on this scientific topic. What do you make of that? Like, what do you make of this kind of video essay explosion in the media landscape?
Yeah, it's an interesting thing. I think. I don't want to comment on the overall trend of people's attention spans, but we are entering a world where whatever your preference for length of video is, there is a lot of it out there, right? So I think the fact that there are long videos that get popular perhaps isn't that contradictory to whatever people's attention spans actually on average actually are, because there are still going to be people outside the norm, and enough of them now on YouTube to watch a large quantity of very long videos. But yeah, the video essay style in particular, I think it's interesting to compare against like written essays, right? Because it's very rare to find, especially young people in the modern world, who would look at written essays in a positive light. I think it's fair to say that if you were to ask someone to write an essay, they'd think of stuff that they do for university that might not have been the most engaging thing in the world. Whereas video essays put on YouTube just for, I guess, entertainment purposes more than anything, they, I guess, allow a greater degree of expression, and allow you to break the mold more than you would if you were writing some academic text. And I think that's a positive thing, because I know that in the stuff that I make, I value the creative aspect, perhaps more so than the educational aspect on some occasions. But yeah, I think the opportunity to do that is something that is interesting, that the video essay phenomenon has created in recent years. I am concerned because I guess the video essay production quality, it does sometimes give kind of a facade of unearned quality, or rather an unearned facade of quality, when in fact a lot of the genre is saturated with a lot of slush, has to be said. So to some extent they are arguably dangerous for proper communication in this way.
That's so interesting. Yeah, I was going to ask about like what the pitfalls can be for science communicators on social media, but you're also right. Film has this kind of believability aspect to it.
Even film that's just almost kind of slideshow aspects, which is what some of the kind of video essays will do.
Yeah, I think it's difficult to narrow down a particular aspect that would separate a good video essay from a bad one, because I think whatever the medium, whatever kind of style you're going for, it is possible to imbue it with a lot of your own creativity and personality. But I personally think that personality is the crucial part that would separate something that would, something that's worth people's time versus something that's cranked out by a content mill or something.
I mean, we were kind of also interested in how humor and kind of absurdity comes into what you do. So it's you take on a very different tone to like more serious, established educational figures.
Yeah, I was thinking about this, and I think to some extent I just get bored with my own writing sometimes, and I'm like, well, I've been explaining this thing quite blandly for the last page and a half. Let's add in a joke, and that's genuinely how I think sometimes when I'm writing the scripts, which I should probably re-examine. But the absurdity of it is one way of creating personality, and part of the thing I enjoy most when I'm writing is writing something absurd or silly. To be honest, as much as it is fun to write the deeper stuff and the stuff that actually means something, it's also fun to write the stupid jokes.
I certainly relate to that. Well, I think that's a perfect note to end on.
Thank you so much. It was so interesting talking to you.
Yeah, thanks. Those really nice questions.
Yeah, it was it was a real treat for us to have you join us. So thanks very much, Oliver.
Thanks again for having me.
And we'll find you on the YouTube channel, on the YouTube comments. We'll defy anyone that says you're not real.
Thank you. I'm glad someone's doing that for me.
Absolutely, we'll be there. Yeah.
All right. Take care, Oliver. Thanks very much. And that was our interview, myself and Caitlin, with Oliver Lugg. And just to say, anyone listening, if you haven't already, go check out his YouTube channel. It's just Oliver Lugg. That's Lugg, 2 G's. And he's got some fantastic videos that are well worth your time.
I know what I'm doing tonight because I hadn't heard of him.
Yeah.
Probably uncultured of me, but I hadn't heard of him. Sounds like a lovely man.
Yeah, he was so nice to talk to. What did you think of what he had to say?
I thought it was really, really cool. I think I can understand immediately why he's so successful online. 'Cause he just seems like a very personable person and very warm and I don't know, just I feel like sometimes science communicators can be quite rigid, like Caitlin was saying, like, you know, the element of humour that he uses, I think it's always quite an interesting way to do it. He sounds like a lovely man, so yeah.
That was Caitlin's question, I think, was really good at the end there about his use of absurdity. And he you know, his response where he said, you know, he writes for a page and a half and then he'll put a joke in.
Yeah.
It's
all, all try and do it.
Lessons to learn, perhaps, for our own work.
It was amazing. So the video, what was the video again about?
So that's a good point, I should say. So this, I think, is, in my opinion, his best work. It's called, let me find it here, The Mass Extinction Debates, A Science Communication Odyssey.
So that's his most successful,
well,
one of his most successful.
In terms of sheer YouTube views, I think it has 4.1 million. So it's his most viewed video, but I think it's one of his best made videos as well. Yeah. It's lovely. I mean, it's over 2 hours, so it's a full documentary, really. It's great.
Whoa. I think you shared with us that video at the beginning of the course,
didn't you? At the beginning of the course, yeah.
Yeah, I remember.
Before I even reached out to him, I was like, guys, you need to watch this. This will.
How did you find him?
Yeah.
I think it just popped up in my feed. Just watch a lot of nerdy and geeky things on YouTube, and eventually the algorithm will point you his way.
Suggested.
Lovely YouTube algorithm.
That's amazing. Thank you very much, Brian. That was amazing. And thank you to Caitlin, who's sadly not here, but it was lovely to hear her voice. So we're going to drop another track now. This is one of my favourite songs. It's called Inferno by JMSN.
And that was Inferno by JMSN. Now we have our iScience quiz coming up next. This week we're going back to the 90s with a famous science communicator who keeps it old school.
Bill Nye the Science Guy. Bill Nye the Science Guy. Bill Nye the Science Guy.
So for this quiz, our players are going to be the three people here in the studio with me. My co-host Ellen.
Hello.
The news editor Valentina.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, we're joined by Sophia as well, who's going to be a player of our game.
Hi, it's good to be back.
We're very glad to have you. Are you ready for your game face? Sophia is the current record holder for wins on the quiz. So you got to defend your title.
Yeah, so I've won 3 times.
Yeah, which you didn't let us forget. Yeah.
I think I've played against Ellen before and Valentina before, but I have never played against 2 people at once. So this is a challenge.
Yeah.
This is like
and
the
I
boss
hold the
battle.
record for always losing, so it's not going to be
Yeah.
hard.
Well, it is a free-for-all. The way that the game is going to work, I will be the scorekeeper. We have clips of Bill Nye, who was an American mechanical engineer and science communicator who had a famous television show in the 1990s and early 2000s. And he is going to describe various scientific topics. Now, Chamie, our brilliant producer, has bleeped out the times in these clips where he actually says the topic, but you guys need to pick up through context what it is that he's talking about in each clip. And if you do it successfully, you get a point. And I'm gonna ask all 3 of you in a row, and you can make your guesses, and then I'll tell who won afterwards.
Okay, so you're not swearing in the bleeped out bits. It's
No,
just okay.
it might sound like it,
Yeah, it might
but we need
sound
to
like it.
stress that he is not swearing. So how are you guys feeling? Are you ready?
I'm a bit scared.
I'm a bit scared.
Yeah, me too.
I think it's a competition.
Well,
I'm ready, though.
Maybe that's the right attitude to bring. You're all going to bring your game.
We'll hope so.
Okay. Could we get the first clip, please, Chamie?
What has 2 eyes, scaly skin, and a weird tongue?
My Uncle Ernie?
No!
Well, like I said,
Come in all shapes and sizes, like snakes, turtles, and lizards. They're able to live all over the world, in all different environments. See, they're animals, just like you and me.
I can't keep it together when I
Are we
hear
sure
this
that's
bleep.
about a scientific topic, Brian?
It really sounds
Could be
like
a euphemism for something
really
else.
sounds like he's swearing up a storm. It's fantastic. So what do you guys think?
Can we all pitch?
We'll
Okay.
I'm going to go Ellen first, and then Sophia, and then Val, and we'll swap it around
So
each
the
time.
first thing that popped in my head with no knowledge, no background information would be a gecko. But I don't know why.
What do you think?
So when I first started listening to it, I thought snakes, but then he said snakes and it wasn't bleeped out. So I thought about all of the things he was saying, and I think it's reptiles.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah, I have the same conclusion as you did, because you mentioned like snakes and then lizards and like, yes, yeah.
Very good. Okay, well, the answer is reptiles. He was talking about the category of reptiles. I believe you, Val, when you said that you were thinking about that too.
Thank you.
just
Yeah,
gave
can we
an air
swap
of
the
honesty.
order next time, Brian?
We will indeed, yes. So I'll give you both a point for that. But sadly, no point for you, Ellen.
Yeah, I thought it was, I got
All
too
right.
distracted by the
Well, hopefully you can do better this time. We're going to go to the next clip, please, Chamie.
This is called a Van de Graaff generator. It's named after Robert Van de Graaff. So here's what happens. Electrical charges are deposited on this rubber belt. The rubber belt turns and redeposits the electrical charges up here on this metal ball. Now, since this next part of the demonstration rocks, I'm gonna put on my rocker wig of science. Yeah! Now, start the rubber belt turning. Electrical charges are being deposited on the metal ball. They're running through my arm and being deposited in me. And look, it's building up in my rocker wig of science.
So what do you guys think he's talking about there? And I'm going to start with Val.
So electricity or static, maybe?
Okay. What do you think?
I was thinking electricity as well. Maybe if you're talking about static electricity, thunderstorms, but then he doesn't mention anything to do with like thunderstorms and lightning.
Okay.
So
What do you think, Ellen?
I would say static electricity, and I have a vision of his hair just going up and up and up
Yeah,
and up and up and
same.
up and up.
With
His
his
rock
rocker
wig.
wig.
Yeah, his
Yeah,
rocker
yeah,
wig. Yeah.
Okay, well, It is static electricity. So I do think you were all coming to that yourselves as well.
Thanks, Brian.
Ideally, I'd take you in. I'd put big blocker headphones on you and ask you one by one, so you couldn't listen to each other's answers. But I trust you, and we're gonna keep rotating. So hopefully, you'll each get a chance to be the last person asked, which means you can have a listen to what the others think.
Yeah.
And hopefully, our listeners, if anyone's playing along with the rest of us in studio, hopefully they got that one as well. Let's go to number 3, please.
This is the demonstrator of science. And here is the that's right. Is shaped like a and inside is the lens. The lens is the clear part that light goes through. And in your the lens sits way up near the front, like this. Now, before light gets into your lens, we have to control the amount of light that comes into our We don't want to have too much or too little. And we do that with something called the iris.
That's amazing.
I love the bleeping.
That's amazing.
It's just too funny.
It's the power of a bleep. The power of a bleep.
Is,
He's really just cursing all the time.
Gosh. Oh, man. So, what do you guys think he's talking about?
That was so hard because I was
Sophia
just trying
first,
not to laugh. And on radio, it gets really irritating to the listener if you're just laughing down the microphone. So you're welcome for us trying to kind of hold it together. So I think that is eyes, because he mentioned iris, he mentions the lens and about light trying to get in.
The other two are nodding, but we'll have to see. Val, what do you? I'll ask Ellen. I think.
I would say eye as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because he said he was talking about optics. I mean, but lenses, and then he said iris, so it has to be eyes.
Yeah.
It is the eyeball. Indeed, the eyeball.
The eyeball.
Yeah, none of us said ball.
Just eyes.
Because it was like the beginning bit. He said eye about 10 times. It was like, it's an eye. It's shaped like an eye. It's eye. It was like bleep, bleep.
Every time
bleep,
it was
bleep.
bleep. Yeah.
It's very intense.
Well, that's a good insight. You got to listen for what the bleep is, and put the context of the way the grammar is structured around the bleep as well. And everything. You get really
there's so much, so much
precise about it. Yeah. Well, let's go to the next clip, please.
If mountaintops are closer to the sun, why is it always colder up there than it is down here in the city? Well, please consider the following. It's thin, but it's thick enough to keep us warm. Now, when you're wearing a coat like this one, it keeps you warm because it holds air next to your body. The same thing with the There's more air above us when we're down here in the city than when we're way up here in the mountains. So it's like the world's low places are wearing more coats. They're wearing more air than these places up high in the mountains.
So what do you guys think? Sorry, I need to. Ellen first.
Okay, I could make myself sound really stupid here, but my train of thought is going around like atmosphere, or I think the atmosphere vibe I'm going on.
That's what I thought too, because he said at first I was thinking, like hiking, but then he said it's really thin, and I was thinking the atmosphere gets really thin when you're close to the top of the mountain. That's why you struggle to breathe a bit more.
Yeah.
What do you think, Val? Have they convinced you?
I was thinking about the atmosphere too at the beginning because everything they were saying, but now I'm confused, and I might say it's something more meteorologically. Is that how you say it? Specific?
Meteorological.
Yeah, I'm not going to repeat it, but yeah.
So what do you think?
Say something just to be different. Do it.
I'm scared.
Go for it.
Is it related? No, I'm gonna go for atmosphere.
Atmosphere. Drum roll. It was the atmosphere.
Okay, I'm so glad I didn't
a point
say
for all of you
else.
again.
Yay! We're so clever, guys.
So currently, as it stands, Sophia and Val, you each have 4 points, and Ellen, you have 3 points.
As usual.
So you fumbled the ball.
This magnifying glass is
let's get the next clip, please. Jamie.
This magnifying glass is making my eye look big. Now, why is that?
I don't know.
Please consider the following.
Okay.
When light enters something like air, water, glass, or plastic, it slows down a little. And when it slows down, it changes direction. See how one eye is lower than the other? See?
So, What do you think Bill is communicating there?
This is testing me on my physics.
Whose turn is it first?
It's going to go to Val first this time.
Oh my god. Was he talking about materials lenses are made of? I don't even know.
You don't know?
No.
Okay.
I think
Sophia?
I know. I think it's refraction. So like when light travels through different mediums, it will travel at different speeds.
What do you think, Alan?
I was like, is it? I got confused. What diffraction, refraction, dispersion, all of those ones.
Wait,
was,
what
like,
did
trying
I
to
say?
remember.
I meant refraction.
Refraction.
You said
Yeah, I
refraction.
said
But I was like,
refraction.
I was then questioning myself of like, what's diffraction? What's the like, all this stuff?
So,
So
what's your answer?
Go diffraction just to be
Which
different.
one's diffraction?
There we go. Back to
Let's go. I'm gonna go diffraction just to be different.
diffraction. Ooh, this is a really good point because these all do mean different things and they all are very similar. It is refraction, which means Sophia gets a point for that one.
Well done.
And the other two miss out, Val and Ellen.
What is diffraction?
So-
Does anyone remember?
No.
I
What
know
does that do?
a bit about X-ray diffraction from chemistry, but I don't think I can explain it very succinctly, which
No.
is showing my stupidity.
No, not at all. Well, you're winning the quiz. So.
I'm winning the quiz.
You're winning the quiz.
We've got
exactly.
a motor on, so let's get the sixth clip, please, Jamie.
Oh, yeah, another one.
Here's a question. Which has more this hot burning match or this beautiful ice sculpture of science? Well, the match is hot, right? The sculpture's cold. Well, they're both made of molecules, right? But which has more molecules? Well, the ice sculpture. A lot more molecules. So although they're much colder than the match, they actually have more molecules, more. Ooh, ow, ow!
Careful.
We broke the swan.
So what do you guys think that one is? And that again was a good case of bleeps for comedy.
Yeah.
Yeah,
there.
that was a great bleep.
We're going to start with Sophia in the middle.
Density, because if there's more molecules. Oh no, but it's not that if there's it's more molecules per volume. So if there's a certain volume and there's more molecules. But then I think it's something to do with temperature because it's like he's saying if there's more molecules, there's more beep. And I don't think he's going to be there's more molecules, there's more density. So, this one's a tough one. I'm going to lose. Hot and cold.
Hot and cold.
Hot and cold.
Okie doke. Let's go to Ellen.
I thought when he first said the hot and then the cold, I was like thermal energy. But then the more molecules confused me. I'm gonna say
Final answer. Here we go.
I don't know. I forfeit. I don't know.
Okay, and Val, what do you think?
Mass?
Mass?
Yeah.
Okay. You're going real molecules, mass.
Yeah.
You're going the other end of Sophia. All right. The answer is heat energy, so I will give it to you, Sophia.
Oh.
You said
it's
thermal energy. That's going
Of
to do it
course.
for us. And that makes you the winner, Sophia.
No way.
With
4 times in a row.
6 points to Val's 4 and Ellen's 3.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Thank you. What do I win?
You win a big round of applause.
Yeah. Big pound
No
back.
chocolate this time, sorry.
I don't think I got chocolate the last time. No, I'm joking. We love iScience.
Listen,
I love to be here.
our funding has been cut in
Yeah.
the iScience radio world here.
Yeah.
No, the eternal glory is all
Friendship
I need.
is priceless. Okay, Sophia. Friendship is priceless.
We're friends.
Oh.
Well,
I'm joking.
that's it for our quiz, and it's also it for our show. Thank you for playing, everyone here in the studio, and thank you for listening, everyone who's tuned in. We hope you had as much fun as we did. If you would like to follow us on social media, we are at iScience Media on X, on Instagram, on Facebook, we're I-Science, on YouTube, we're iScience Magazine, and of course the most recent issue of iScience Magazine, Unsung Science, is available around campus, or you can visit our website, which is isciencemag.co.uk. And our final song for this evening, Ellen, would you like to?
Yes, it's another favourite, and it's by Maggie Rogers, and it's called Alaska.
That's all from us.
I was walking through icy streams that took my breath away, moving slowly. water over glacial plains, and I walked off you, and I walked off and no